She is good to go.
Ready to go? Okay. It is 10 o'clock. I'd like to call the Finance Administration Committee meeting to order. We'll start off with public comment. Is there any public comment this morning? Seeing none. Entertain a motion for the consent items, the approval of the agenda and the approval of the minutes from our last meeting. So or any additions, corrections? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Need a motion for the statement of review. Or questions, comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Need a motion for the amended agreement for funding assistance with the Ottawa Conservation District.
Or I'd like to offer a additional motion or amendment to that motion.
Okay.
Can I do that? And I would like to suggest that we ask the statement about ending in 2023 to extend to 2026. And that the dollar amount increased to $100,000.
We have a second on the.
I'll second that. So as I understand it, there's a change to the action item, which is pushing out the agreement to 2026, and then we're paralleling that with an extension of the existing funding agreement out to 2026 and putting that funding number at 100,000. Is that correct?
Correct, yes. And we have some documentation in front of us that was provided to us just yesterday. So you haven't seen it before today. And none of us have seen it much before today. So talks a little bit about the need for operational groundwater funding. And then some of the increase in operational funding costs with the cost of living increase to provide for competitive wages and explore the opportunities of healthcare for our staff. So some of those things they're looking at. And I understand that perhaps this is coming at us a little fast and furiously. So we could take a look at this today, approve this today, and decide at our board meeting next week whether or not to change this or approve it as it is or increase it.
Yeah, so the original agreement that we were sent by the Conservation District talked about 120 plus an additional 20 to assist in funding the Farmland and Water Quality Conservation Initiative. So it would be 140. I think what you're saying is 100 for ongoing activities,
Correct.
Maintain the 20.
Yes,
In our last agreement with them, do I have this right, John? We agreed not to claw back anything that the state may apportion to the district.
Right, we did that as a, kind of a one-time thing where the original agreement said the state, if they ever provide additional funding,
Mhm.
the county could say, hey, you need to then return that funding to us. We
Sure.
agreed to waive it. I think it was a $40,000 payment from the state.
correct.
I mean, I just found out about this proposed amendment
Yes,
less than 10 minutes ago.
yes,
And I'll need more time than that, but the county has contributed from fiscal year 16 through 19, $40,000 to the Conservation District. And then in fiscal year 20, we contributed 60,000 plus 20,000 for groundwater initiatives. And we did that in fiscal year 20 and 21. So 60,000 for general operations, 20,000 for groundwater initiatives. And then in the fiscal year 22, we upped it to 80,000 And then groundwater was 20,000. And so here, they're looking at, upping that to 120,000 plus 20 for groundwater, so 140. So our contribution to the conservation district has ramped up pretty significantly over the years. The agreement that was put on the agenda today was really a pretty simple amendment in respect to, the director there doesn't have a lot of administrative support. And so the agreement was in the agenda packet was to say, if she had to contact our corporation counsel or our HR department, to post a job or to maybe ask some general HR related questions, it was pretty minor in nature. We would provide that assistance. If it became an overwhelming amount of requests for assistance, we had the right to say, no, we can't do that. So it was a pretty simple agreement. And now their current agreement expires September 30th, 2023. And from what I'm quickly reading here is they'd like to extend that through September 30th, 2026. So a 3-year extension.
Correct.
And then an increase in funding. And, at this point, I mean, my recommendation is to stay with what's in the packet. Obviously, if the board wants to recommend approval of this request that you just got, I'm going to do a little more, obviously research and be a little more prepared.
No,
At the moment,
we realize that
but
this
doesn't, this isn't very, I don't know how to say it, doesn't seem right. It just seems like it's trying to sneak something through and when their agreement is up at the end of September, they can make a case to the board at that time as to the value, and they do provide value. But I think that's something that the board come next September should deal with more than this. That's my initial reaction after getting this 10 minutes ago.
And the state's working on this more and more too. Again, it's kind of back on the plate as far as funding for conservation districts or not.
Well, yeah, they provided, and that was the basis for that amendment bill in April, where they provided, they said it was a one-time payment. They could always do again, but it was a $40,000 one-time payment that we allowed them to keep because our agreement at the time said, you get money from the state, we get that back. We waived that. So that was a $40,000 additional grant that we didn't realize that revenue that we should have. So we've definitely demonstrated our commitment to the conservation district. And, this is just, again, something that I think should be addressed when the contract is closer to expiring. And that's my just initial, gut reaction in this.
All right. I think it's important to throw out the fact that as Phil has reminded me many times, the return on investment, the dollars that we put into the Ottawa conservation have been returned in huge amounts in terms of what they've been able to do with the little dollars that we've given them in terms of the millions of dollars that they've gotten in grant funding and the things that they've been able to do in the county. And I think that's important to add into this mix as well.
Go ahead.
For us to remember that this isn't money that we're just throwing away. This money is returning in huge amounts for the county in terms of conservation and what they've been able to do. So I think that's important for us to remember as well.
John, the conservation district, are they like a standalone entity?
Yeah,
Are
and
they-
if Doug were here, he'd tell you, but I think state law requires them to be set up, but never provided funding for it. And so, I believe we provide them a huge majority of their operating budget outside of getting grants that they get grants for. But I think without our funding, they would be in jeopardy of being able to do anything.
Yes.
So the employees of the district are not employees of the county.
Correct. They are
It's
not.
not a county department.
Right.
You look at this handout that we put out there. In 2022, they received 26 grants. 26 grant contracts that they had.
I just think that there's one, when we go back to the last meeting with the ARPA, one thing we didn't really deal with was water quality and quantity, right? I mean, we did a lot of different things and I think we had a lot of great projects, but and that's even one of the, one of the priorities of the new board as well is water quality and quantity and there is a section 4 in here, termination of agreement during term. So there is, an opportunity for the new board to look at this as well, but the one stated objective of, some of the incoming commissioners was water quality and quantity, so I think we're, honoring that as well, but I'll be in favor of the 100,000.
Anything else? Rachel, we would need a vote on the amendment first, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Why don't you do roll call, if you would?
Hey, could you read the motion, the amended motion?
You know, I was confused on it because I'm looking at the agreement and it says 120, so are you dropping what the agreement says to 100,000? And then extending it to 2026, or how did you want the motion to read? Right now I have to amend the amended agreement for funding assistance to extend the agreement from 2023 to 2026. And then I wasn't sure on the money.
Is the money 120?
Well,
Thought it was-
their request
The
is
request is for
120
120.
county contribution plus 20,000 for groundwater for a total of 140. That's the request that I got today.
Yeah, but the motion that we have on our agenda today is for 100 and
It's 100 plus 20.
100 plus 20, and then,
Yeah.
the rest of our colleagues can decide next Tuesday
yes,
whether they want to accept that, amend that,
Yeah.
yeah,
we'll just keep
or
that.
change a,
We'll
change
keep
some
that
sort of
as a-
later.
Yes,
You
we're
wanna-
keeping that.
What
So-
you want to do here is
Is
just extend the
Extend the
contract.
contract,
Okay.
that's correct.
Right.
Okay, so to amend,
Well, and I'm not trying to be, I
go
thought
ahead.
the amended was to extend it plus the 100 plus 20.
But
That's,
that's already in the contract. I mean, that's already in the motion for today.
right, was to extend it plus the 100 and plus the 20, so total.
But extended 26 at 100 plus the 20,
Yes.
and then we can revisit this next Tuesday with
Right.
all of our colleagues.
So you're talking, just to be clear, your motion is to extend the agreement with the Conservation District through September 30th, 2026.
Yes.
And it would be a total of $120,000 contribution, 100,000 for general operations, 20,000 for groundwater initiatives.
Correct.
Okay.
yes, I do.
All right.
Okay, so this is for the amended. Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra.
Yes,
Mr. Bergman.
Yes.
Mr. DeYoung,
Yes.
Mr. Baumann.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, and then for the original motion that's been amended, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Need a motion for the road commission agreement on custodial funds.
So move.
Or,
Amanda?
Currently, the treasurer's office does investments for the road commission. This agreement would formalize that arrangement. And in addition, I think there is language added that Karen can speak to about audit provisions. So
So we had asked for their audit of cash to be by January 20th. So if they could have their audit, we use the same audit firm. We work with them and select our audit firm. So they use the same firm that the county uses. And we had asked if they could provide that cash audit and a draft financial statement, because we use that to balance our cash and to prepare our notes and get ready for our audit. And then their full report would also be provided as well at a later date when they were done with that. So this has been going back and forth a little bit. Brett was on vacation. I was out for a couple of days. So that's the piece that I don't know that it's completely resolved yet, but hopefully by the board meeting, we can have language that both groups agree with.
Questions? Thank you, Amanda.
Mhm.
All in favor, say aye.
I-
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Need a motion for the road commission memorandum of understanding.
Move.
Support.
So this came out of our meetings with the road commission. We had a memorandum of understanding that went back to 2013. And then just based on some of the communication issues that we've had, we wanted just to update that. And so what you have before you is an updated MOU that talks about the responsibilities of each party, talks about communication, it talks about how we'll address any disagreements or issues. So for example, if the county and as commissioners, you've often received complaints or questions from citizens, you would therefore direct those questions or concerns or complaints to the county administrator, and then the county administrator would get in touch with the managing director at the road commission to get those things adjusted. And it talks about the road commission shall consult with the county administrator and the county parks director as to the name of a road commission board member that's being considered for appointment to the Parks and Rec Commission. And then it talks about the road commission will first offer any surplus property in its real estate inventory to the county for potential purpose before presenting that property to the public, and that the road commission will cooperate with the county in our efforts to obtain a grant or private funding for that purchase. And if we have disputes, we'll discuss them at staff level, we'll discuss them at our quarterly meetings. And then if that doesn't work, we can go to mediation. And as long as each party is complying with this agreement, we pledge not to take them over. Now, I will say the agreement that was presented to the road commission that the road commission board approved is slightly different than this. And we pointed that out to Brett. Brett had in his agreement that it was a mutual two-way street, so that if the county had surplus property, we would present that to the road commission for the first right. Just like, and we have it structured here, and this is what we want, is the road commission will first offer any surplus property to the county, but we wouldn't be doing that with them. And then the other thing is we wanted to have in there that we had the right to have the road commission, if there were issues with the road commission member that was a part of the Parks Commission, that person could be switched out if there were problems that developed. We're waiting for confirmation from the road commission that they're in agreement with this. So what we have before you is the agreement that we are recommending. And there's a couple little tweaks that we're trying to get them to agree with us, because we thought they had, but they had tweaked a couple things that we're still working on. So our recommendation was to have you recommend this, what's before you, and then I'll let the board know next week. If for some reason the road commission says, no, that's not acceptable, then we'll have to put this off for another day. But I wanted you to know that what they approved is a little bit different, and we're trying to get them to switch that.
Okay. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
I-
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. In a motion for the OPEB advisory services.
So move.
Support. Amanda?
So Greenleaf Trust, who is our current advisor, is exiting the market, or no longer wishes to serve as our advisor. So we issued a RFP, received 7 responses to that, interviewed 3 of the firms, and chose Cap Trust, the committee that did the interviewing. Cap Trust currently serves as the advisor for several of our retirement accounts. But I don't believe that was the overriding reason that they were chosen. They were just interviewed so well, had some really great insights into our OPEB trust. And so very comfortable recommending to you that you recommend approval of this contract with them.
Questions of Amanda? Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Need a motion for the credit card processing contract.
So
with
moved.
Huntington Bank.
So currently, our current firm that we do business with as our credit card processor is Chase Payment Tech. We've been doing business with them since 2009. We had a goal in our office to move to one credit card processing firm. So currently we have 6. And it makes it very difficult to reconcile everything between all those vendors. So we did release an RFP. This was a goal, a long-time goal of our department to get to that one-time vendor or one vendor. We released an RFP. We received 3 responses to that. The committee, which consisted of IT, purchasing, and my office, felt that Huntington was the best of those who interviewed with us. And so we're recommending that to you to go with Huntington and through their supplier Fiserv for some of the equipment.
So Amanda, do
Yeah.
People pay a service fee when they use a credit card
Mhm,
to make a payment?
mhm.
What is that?
Depends on the credit card.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, very much. It's
Okay.
very
So-
complicated.
So AMX is more than
Mhm.
a Visa card.
And
yes.
a Chase credit card is not as much if you're going through Payment Tech, because that's a Chase company.
Okay,
MasterCard's different amounts. And so, yeah.
okay.
It's a very interesting calculation for all these credit cards.
Amanda, you have on here that the annual transaction fees are estimated to 150,000.
Yeah,
Yes.
and Doug and I talked about this. It is higher than we normally pay. So right now we're about $65,000 for those fees. But Doug, because we are still in the contract negotiation phase of this, recommended we go high on for this amount. I suspect it will be a lot less because we're going to be that fine tuning the contract itself.
Is that the net cost to the county then, or is that the gross cost to the county minus what we're charging the citizen to use their card?
That's the cost to the county.
So even after they're paying their fee, their 3% or whatever.
I believe so, yes.
Still a cost.
Any other questions? Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign, motion passes. Need a motion for the Cisco Flex Phone licensing and server replacement. Done.
Good morning, John Walters, Telecom Administrator in the IT department. This is basically to license our phone system for 3 years. We've got a couple servers that are end of life, so to replace that. And then also to extend our master services agreement for 1 year for this.
Is this, what is it, IOP or IPO? or-
Voice over IP,
Voice over?
yes.
It's all-
Yep.
So this is a 1-year cost, so every year it's 311?
No.
Okay, it's a
No.
one time.
It's a first year is,
143.
yeah, it's about 143 because of the servers.
Okay.
And professional services to set it up, and then the ongoing is 83,000, yeah.
All right.
Any other questions of John? Thank you.
Thanks.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign, motion passes. Need a motion for the community mental health personnel request. So moved. Lynn?
Good morning. So this first position is for a nurse practitioner. We currently contract with a locum tenens agency to provide some part-time nurse practitioner hours. We have an opportunity with someone that we've known and worked with in the past who's graduating. Not guaranteed that we would certainly give the position to her, but we were hoping to fill those contract positions with a full-time staff.
Any questions? of Lynn? Might as well stay up there a quick second, so. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Need a motion for the CMH personnel request. Second one. Or. Okay,
This is for temporary non-benefited crisis support. So having a pool to call from for on-call crisis work for adult and our children's team.
questions of Lynn? Thanks, Lynn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. In a motion to set the hearing for the revolving loan fund. So move.
So this is Doug Van Essen had indicated for the Affordable Housing Revolving Loan Fund, state law requires us to have a public hearing before starting that. So this is simply to establish next week's Board of Commissioners meeting as the date of that public hearing.
Okay. Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Need a motion for the fiscal year 22 and 23 budget adjustments. Karen did say that there was one additional one on the last page of the handout or
What she handed out, right?
was a grant for the clerk's office for 15,900. Anything else?
Sure, so
Sure.
there's some 22 budget adjustments here. That is, we try not to do those so late after year end. There's a correction, and then there's some grant funds that we finally got our final revenue numbers for community mental health from the LRE, both for Medicaid and SUD support. So those are here as well. This is for the projects that were approved at the board meeting last week. We are transferring those funds in the cases where we had like the parks projects, we're going to transfer funds into the parks capital improvement plan. We are the farmland preservation, the $1 million, we wanted to transfer that as well. So we have made some adjustments based on the approvals last week. There's also carry forwards of either unspent funds or grants from 22 to 23. There's the childcare and the Friend of the Court Fund. They receive federal grants, and the inflation payment is eligible for those funds. And so the inflation payment is being charged to those funds, and then we'll receive some federal dollars to offset, federal or state dollars to offset the cost of the county. Community Action Agency, there's that large one, 3-4 near the bottom, a lot of grant carry forwards and setting up things for fiscal year 23. We estimate the amount that we think will be available. And then that lets them start right on October 1st. And then we come back and we adjust that amount after we've reported everything and know the exact balance at 9:30. So you're seeing a lot of that here today.
Okay, any questions of Karen? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Discussion items, none. Amanda, you didn't have a treasurer's report?
No, it's, this meeting was a little too early in the month for me to file all my information.
Okay, thank you. Second opportunity for public comment. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move. Or.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned.
All right, guys, that stuff out. Doug and I, you know, we just got this stuff.
I don't know why you guys went on the email, but, I just.
Because you guys.
And
Yeah, you guys are in cahoots.
Confused, I guess.
You guys are, you're in cahoots together, that's why, you know.
Two amigos.
Yeah, yeah, that's the, I'm gonna rename you guys the Two Amigos. I don't know if we'll do that.
I think Doug and I might become two amigos.
The outcasts.
The outcasts, yeah.
Well,
No, it was actually.
You heard anything, Roger, on committee assignments or anything like that?
No. No.
Brad,
Doug, you haven't gotten anything, have you?
my idea is that everybody